Good evening. This is the Park and Recreation Commission meeting for Thursday, September 28th. I'll call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. So if you join me with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business is the approval of the minutes from the August 17th meeting.
Move to approve.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Unfinished business, Regner Park Beach 2023 annual report. Ryan's going to do that.
All right, in the packet, page 7 and 8 are a little end of season report that I did. I'll hit some highlights here. Feel free to stop me at any point if you have questions, comments, concerns. Staffing, dating back to roughly this time last year, Mike and I believed that we would need roughly 20 lifeguards in order to fully operate Regner. On top of that, 10 beach house attendants. We ended up surpassing both of those numbers, 2 lifeguard supervisors, 24 lifeguards, excuse me, and 11 beach house attendants. Next section, hours of operation and weather statistics. So on your perfect day, Regner is scheduled to be open 11 to 7. 2023 was June 10th through August 20th. This year, the beach opened in some way, shape, or form 67 out of the 72 possible days for a total of 463.75 hours, which equated to 6.92 hours on those 67 days. Looking back at 2021, the figures respectively were 426 hours and 5.83 hours per day, so weather was definitely a little more on our side. Supervisors were told to keep the pond as open as long as it was financially responsible. So what I told Evelyn and Simon was after 5 o'clock, 20 or less was kind of that threshold to make the half-hour closing announcement. Weather, we opened on June 10th. On June 11, 12, and 13, it was 60 degrees out, obviously didn't open. The Canadian wildfires had an impact on a handful of days throughout the summer, adversely impacting how we were open. Average high temperature was 81 degrees. It was down from 82.1 in 2021. Average low temperature was 73.9, which was up from 68.1 in 2021. Looking back, I'm not sure how the temperatures were collected. I think that they were probably going outside of the operating hours, which to me doesn't make sense. So like in 2017, the average low temperature was 59.2 degrees. But as long as I'm in the position, average high and low temp will be between operating hours. Water quality, so we are required to submit water samples weekly. We submit them to the Village of Jackson Water Utility Department. The state of Wisconsin sets the thresholds. All of our samples were well below the high level of E. coli present that you need to be under before you have to put advisory signs out for water conditions. In addition to that, Wisconsin Lake and Pond Resource continue to do the treatments that they've been doing for quite some time. Down to attendance. So total number this year for Regner Beach attendance was 13,864 users. So that includes everyone that had a daily pass, a season pass, free users, so 2 and under, anyone that bought a pass to use the splash pad. That number was up 38% from 2021, which was at 10,053. As expected, the busiest day of the year was the 4th of July with 788 users. And we've kind of got a breakdown there. So under 100 users was 20 days, 1 to 200, 21 days, 2 to 319 days, and over 300 users occurred on 12 days in 2023. Flipping back to page 8, preseason and in-season pass sales. So going back to probably February, I would guess, is when we did the pricing adjustments for Regner for 2023. Increased the prices with the goal of selling the same amount of passes to make more money. I might have gotten a little overzealous with the pricing. So as you can see, preseason pass quantities and in-season pass quantities were both down. However, the silver lining there is that in terms of money generated by both of those types of passes, we weren't substantially down from 2021. Revenues and expenditures. So revenues, I'll just round off the numbers. So $59,000 in beach passes, concessions, $12,000 for a gross profit of $70,750. Expenses, lifeguards were $132,000. Beach house attendant wages, $11,000. Beach supplies, $9,500. Concessions, $7,000. For total expenses of $159,000, which would have left us at a net loss of $82,233.61. However, we are fortunate enough this year to have Washington County reimbursing us 100% of the costs, the staffing costs above the levels of 2021, which in this year is estimated to be $82,719.32. So it takes that operating loss down to about $5,500 rather than almost $90,000. So extremely fortunate to have Washington County helping us out there. A breakdown of kind of the costs. So actual cost of lifeguards and beach house attendants in 2021, what was projected for the 2023 costs, and the actual costs of 2023. The paragraph under there, again, looking at a loss of about $5,500. Looking ahead, it's of the highest degree of importance that staff find a way to increase revenues at Regner Beach as reimbursement levels continue to decrease from 2024 to 2026. The net income or loss could really begin to get out of control if no changes to the facility are made. So as a reminder, we were reimbursed 100% of the expenses above 2021 this year. In 2024, it drops down to 75%, then 50%, and then 25%, and then gone in the summer of 2027. Recommendations. Number 1, implement the Aquaglide inflatable obstacles, which I will get to in a bit. Install numerous no swimming unless lifeguard on duty signs. Pretty self-explanatory. Install a new bike rack on the east side of the beach house between the 2 exterior bathrooms there. Explore differential pricing fee structure for the potential use of Aquaglide inflatables and time of day pricing. I'll touch on that later. Continue to expand concessions offerings. Obtain 1 new piece of equipment that will yield high profit margin on sales. So something that was thrown around internally between staff was like a slushy machine. So we'll look into exploring that between now and next summer. Continue to explore special events at Regner with all proceeds going towards lifeguard and beach house attendant wages for the future. And 7, attempt to get the beach house community room rental revenues to fund lifeguard and beach house attendant wages rather than contributing to the city's general fund. So overall, just to kind of recap the summer, exceeded all of my expectations. Staff was great. The couple of incidents that we have, they handled very well. Looking forward to next summer. So,
in the hindsight, we thought that 20 lifeguards would be enough. Was 24 enough?
in the beginning of the summer, 24 lifeguards was fine. As sports and other activities, kids going off to college, et cetera, August 5th, 10th, whatever that day was, then it got a little dicey at sometimes. But yeah, 24, June 10th through August 5th was fine. But next year, I think that knowing that there is that point in time where kids go off to do their other activities, we'll probably try and get to 30, I'll say, just as a round number.
Do you know, are there some that are going to come back next year?
I would anticipate a very strong return of staff.
Oh,
I would, if I had to throw a percentage on it, I would say 80% would be my guess.
Excellent.
Do you feel, I'm sorry, just to jump in there, do you feel like they had a good experience? Do you feel like they feel like they had a good experience?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I obviously was not there 24/7, but
Sure.
when I was there, I could see that they were having fun. And of course, there's burnout on the days where it's 90 degrees out and they're sitting outside for 8.5 hours, and you can just tell at 3 o'clock that they're beat. But overall, yes, I think that they all had a good, rewarding experience. Whether they chose to come back or not, I think that it was definitely a good position for them.
Awesome. And just another question, if you don't mind, and I apologize for being late, and I apologize if you covered this already, but as far as beach passes goes, was that are we moving in the right direction on those?
That's definitely not the trend we want.
Numbers of passes issued, I guess, is what I'm getting at. I know the pricing we probably need to work on yet, but is that increasing? Did the new beach house have an impact on that?
Are you saying season passes or daily passes, just so I can clarify?
You know what? I'm not really sure. I guess in general.
So
in general, is that moving in the right direction? Do we need to work on selling more passes?
The daily passes were up. So
Okay.
if I came and just bought a single day pass, that quantity sold was up 38%.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's trending in the right way. Season passes, those were down roughly 50%. So we increased the fee structure for that. It didn't turn out quite the way that I wanted it to, so something that we can look into.
The revenue was consistent, so.
Right.
The revenue's consistent. Okay.
Although we may have lost a few people because increasing it brought the revenue up. And we only increased it to stay competitive or in the market with everybody else.
Okay.
Right.
So-
Gotcha.
So we're not out of line with what we raised it to.
Cool.
The only other question I have, the water samples to Jackson, is that so you have a third party look at it, or is it?
State of Wisconsin
Oh, okay, that's
requires
the law.
that for all beaches.
Okay,
yeah.
I guess that's a good idea.
Yep.
Any other questions for Ryan?
Just one comment, Mike. I'd like to publicly thank Ryan. He did an outstanding job this year. I'll say restructuring the entire program, working with the YMCA, working with the school district, getting to the point of 24 lifeguards and going beyond that for next year. I mean, he's got a great game plan together. It fell on his shoulders. He took that responsibility and really took care of business. And as far as like returning lifeguards and things like that, they do exit interviews basically with each one of the lifeguards and the head guards and all that. So Ryan gets all that feedback and has a pretty good understanding of, what's happening. So no, great job on, for us, but definitely it was Ryan's horse race all summer long. I'll say that. So.
I echo that. You did a great job. Anything else for Ryan? That's just a report, so we don't need a motion on that. Then we have new business, Glacier Hills Invasive Species Control, Eagle Scout presentation, and Dan is going to start with that.
You got an introduction, Dan? Or? Yeah, yep.
That's fine.
This is Luke Krieger. Him and I met a week and a half ago. He wants to do an invasive removal of autumn olive from Glacial Hills for his Eagle Scout award. Good kid. There you go.
All right, so like he said, my name is Luke Krieger. I'm in 12th grade at West Minneapolis High School, and I'm in Troop 762. I have some maps real quick of the target area. It's circled in Sharpie, and the reason we're not targeting the other areas is because autumn olive doesn't grow in hard forests, so there's no need.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Nope, that's perfect. Thank you.
So it doesn't grow in other areas, and that's the main place that it grows. This is what the plant looks like. It's got little red berries and a shiny underside on the leaf, so it's easy to identify. Why I wanted to do this project, so since a young age I worked with removing invasive species with my grandpa, like garlic mustard, purple loosestripe, buckthorn, teasel, and I always liked doing that and enjoyed it. And I wanted to positively affect the environment and help a local park. And I chose this park because I used to go mountain biking there when I was younger with my friends during quarantine, and our troop uses it for meetings. We sometimes go orienteering there, and I thought it'd be a good park to help because we use it. So my goal is to remove the autumn olive from the open areas around the pond and less densely wooded areas. I already said it doesn't grow in the wooded, like the heavily wooded areas, so that's why we're not removing it there. And then, so the removal process, we're gonna mark it with pink tape before we do the cutting, like a couple weeks before. Then we're gonna cut the plant down to a little bit above the ground so we can see the little stump. And then we're gonna paint it with Garland 4 Ultra, which is a herbicide. We're gonna only be having adults use that. And we're gonna have a couple of scouts and an adult working in groups, cutting and painting the stumps. And then I had a question about what you wanted me to do with it after. Is there a couple places we could drag it to, or would you just want it left where we cut it?
Wherever you find a place where you can stack it sufficiently, we can come in, we'll haul it off for you.
All right,
So,
thank you.
yeah, not a problem.
Close to the road.
This is a herbicide. It's used for controlling woody invasive weeds, and that's what autumn olive is. And you put it on the stumps, paint it on there, and it should keep it from growing back. And then for protection, we're gonna use gloves, eye protection, long sleeves and pants, and no kids will be using it. So I wanna do it this fall, and then my proposed date is November 4th and 5th, around 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. And then the people who are gonna be helping are gonna be scouts and parents of the troop, friends and family, and I expect 20 to 25 people. Does anybody have any questions? And this is my contact information if anybody needs it.
Is it necessary to put up signage or something while you're doing it?
No, I don't
No?
think so.
Oh,
Like, we do that all the time when we do road right-of-way, or even cutting a tree down on somebody's terrace. We'll spray it with Garland, just like Luke's talking about. We don't have to mark that. So, it absorbs in pretty quick.
okay. No, it's great that you're doing this. We love these Eagle Scout projects. Really help us out a lot. Anybody else have any questions for Luke?
No, just a thank you also, Luke. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
For us, it's a great opportunity because it's a land management practice that we cannot execute like on a property like this. So without Luke taking the initiative and having his team go out there and do this, this type of work would never occur. So the assistant and control of this autumn olive, this invasive species, is pretty awesome. And Luke's grandfather, I know your grandfather, Lee Krieger. Lee's done a tremendous amount of invasive control all over this county, Lac-Loran Conservancy, and so we are in good hands.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you. I have a sheet to get signed for the project beneficiary. Do you know who I'd have sign that?
You probably want a motion to approve this project?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion for Luke? Otherwise, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Luke.
Then we have Regner Swim Pond update, the Inflatables by Ryan.
All right, page 9 of the packet, I threw together a memo, so I will go through that. Parks Rec and Forestry Department is seeking approval to proceed with the purchase of Aquaglide products from the Village of Kewaskum to implement these amenities at Regner Park Beach beginning in the summer of 2024. The Village of Kewaskum purchased these inflatables in 2017. The inflatables were used for 2 summers and have not been used since due to COVID-19 closures and then not reopening their swimming pond in 2022. The inflatables have been properly stored since 2019. City of West Bend staff viewed the Aquaglide products fully inflated to confirm that they are in working condition and absent of any defects. The Aquaglide products and accessories that the City of West Bend is looking to purchase cost the Village of Kewaskum approximately $12,000 in 2017. While some of these products are no longer available, it's my best estimate that these products, if purchased new today, would cost approximately $19,200. West Bend Friends of Parks Recreation has graciously volunteered to cover the costs of $8,000 to purchase the inflatables from the village of Kewaskum and an additional $1,000 to purchase life jackets necessary for all inflatable users. While the pond is dredged later this year, there will need to be a slight regrading of the pond to accommodate for the manufacturer's recommended minimum fall zones, all of which require a minimum depth of 5.5 feet, aside from the tall slide, which requires a minimum depth of 8 feet. In addition to the dredging and regrading, there will need to be subtle changes to the zones determined by ropes compared to what was in place for the 2023 season. To accommodate for the higher volume of patrons, 2 newly ordered lifeguard chairs stands will be strategically placed to ensure preventative lifeguarding measures are still in place. Additional patron rules and policies will be implemented to accommodate for the Aquaglide inflatables. There will be additional staff policies and procedures to continue our preventative lifeguarding practices to ensure patron safety while using Regner Beach Pond. Aside from the dredging, which is more of a routine maintenance cost from the pond perspective, at this time, the only foreseen additional cost with implementing the Aquaglide products is the purchase of additional life jackets, which, again, we are fortunate to have West Bend Friends of Park and Recreation helping us out with the cost there. Industry standard is that all users, regardless of swimming ability and age, wear a life jacket while recreating on obstacles like these. It is believed that the addition of these amenities to Regner Beach will help draw a larger quantity of patrons to the facility in 2024, which will be needed as staffing and operating costs continue to rise, and tying it together as the funds that we're receiving from Washington County go down to 75%, 50%, 25%, and then nothing. So, not making any material changes to the pond. The inflatables would be anchored down in place. They would stay inflated every night. I personally think that it'll be really good for Regner. That's my belief. And, Mike, I'm sure you have some things to add.
Yeah, no, Ryan kind of laid out all the numbers, for everyone this evening, but what we're trying to do is improve the experience in Regner Park. The pond is 84 years old, things like that. We can't rely on Washington County and others to, help us financially throughout the years. We're very fortunate the county's helping us. So it's also our responsibility to try and increase our patron loads, our numbers, our attendance, our revenues, obviously, to help cover some of these costs. And like Ryan kind of mentioned, we're not changing the look of Regner Park. It's still going to be the pond, this and that. We have to excavate the diving wall this winter or this fall anyways. We're just going to reshape the bottom of the pond a little bit to facilitate these fall zones for this equipment. I think it's going to be a huge hit. To be honest with you, I don't think we're going to have enough of the equipment.
I agree.
So,
Well, this is fantastic news. We had that task force last year, the Randy Kaler thing, and this was one of the things that was brought up to bring people into the park. I mean, you see these at campgrounds and all over the place, and it's going to be great. I think it's going to bring people in.
Yeah, my experience at a campground with one of the, and it looked almost exactly the same as this one. It was there with a buddy, and we're watching all these little kids over there having just a blast, and we couldn't help ourselves. So we jumped in and went over there and played on the thing too, and it was just incredible. I'm super excited about this. I think it's a great idea. I assume this is going to be in place of the existing diving board thing that's out there.
So we would be able to keep the diving raft now. We would be rotating it 90 degrees to the south, so the diving board and slide would be projecting users to the north. It would be shifted, just a 90-degree turn, and then with the dredging changes that we'll make, it will accommodate them, definitely.
Okay.
yeah, we were able to measure everything out and lay it all out. The fortunate thing is with these inflatables, most of them need like a 6-foot fall zone, like 6 foot of water, which is not a problem for us. The diving board itself, we want that down to 12 feet. So that becomes more of a challenge, actually, keeping a diving board. But no, everything will fit. It'll just a little bit of rearrangement and,
I don't know how much you really even need the diving board with this thing, but I'm sure there's people used
Hate
to
to
using
lose
it, you know.
Well, yeah, and it's the traditional Regner Park diving board, and that, we don't want to change Regner, you know,
We'll catch it on that for sure.
Yep. So, and we're very fortunate. Kewaskin's been an outstanding partner. I mean, they took all this equipment out of storage for us, set it all up so we could inspect
That had to be a
it,
huge
check it
pain.
out, and all that.
Yeah.
So it was a day for them to get everything out and put everything away and all that, whatever. And they kudos to them. They did an excellent job storing it. So they've really been a good partner on this project.
My understanding, we need the raft anyway for the lifeguard stand
Oh,
because of
sure,
the
right,
distances.
yeah, that's true, yep.
No, and this is another example of the Friends of the Parks.
Yes.
The money that they spent, that, they donate with the funds that are raised for Regner Fest and everything.
Sure.
Oh, so we need a motion to approve to go ahead on the purchase of these?
Motion.
There's a motion? Is there a second?
Yep, I second.
Oh, okay. Motion and a second to purchase these inflatables. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We'll pick them up.
Awesome.
Then we have inflatables fees by Ryan.
So another more brief memo. In effort to generate additional revenues from the added Aquaglide inflatables at Regner Beach Pond, an additional $4 fee is being proposed for patron use of the inflatables. The basis of this $4 fee is to mimic the fee of the Super Slide Days. In 2023, Super Slide Days were very successful, bringing in an additional $720 in revenue over 2 days, so we offered them on 2 Fridays. Regner Beach patrons with swim passes, season swim passes, would need to purchase an additional $4 wristband to use the Aquaglide inflatables. The diving raft, so the slide and the diving board, would still be included in the baseline admittance fee for Regner Beach. So I think that this is going to be necessary to generate revenues. Let's say we were at 14,000 people in 2023. If Mike and I were doing the math earlier, if 20% of the people ended up purchasing the $4 swim band, we would be at $11,080 in extra revenues generated at 20%, which I feel is a little conservative, but you'd obviously rather underestimate that than overestimate it. So yeah, for $4 to use these every day that you would be there is what we're proposing.
And we're going to still do the raft wristband too, so you'd have 3 wristbands possibly?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's
Is that-
necessary.
Does that get a little bit, and this has been is something that I guess has probably been somewhat of an issue since we were using the elastic ones that we put on the ankle back when I was 8 years old going down there. But is it a problem for? Is it the lifeguards that are enforcing this and keeping an eye on the wristbands in this case it's also going to be life jackets?
Yep. So the bands change daily. We have probably 20 different styles. So every day in our lifeguard briefing at 11 o'clock, they would know what band it is, what band to look for general admission. And then we have a second one for swim tests. So if they took the swim test to go onto the raft, it says swim tested, and then they would write the date on there. So July 10th, 2023. And then for the Aquaglide ones, I would need to think of something else. Haven't quite gotten there yet, but
Sure. But that's not been a problem so far
No.
in enforcing that stuff.
No.
Okay, great, good.
No?
Ryan, would it be possible to do a season pass on that also, or?
Mike, Yench, and I had talked about that, and we decided that for the first year we're going to try going with the daily fee, and
Okay.
definitely open to changing that if the demand would be there. If people are telling us constantly that they would just prefer to pay the fee up front for whatever amount we would want to charge for that.
Right.
So.
I
Okay.
asked Ryan about that too, because I thought having an all-inclusive pass might be nice, but like he said, we're going to see how it goes this year, and you can always revisit that.
Yeah, and the one park that we did tour, the Fond du Lac Aqua Park, water park, they didn't offer a season pass. Granted, their amenities are tenfold of what we would be offering in the first year, but they were they were paying daily fees there, so.
Well, it's exciting. Any other comments, questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. No other discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We move into donations. Whoever might want to do that.
All right, I have 2 donations. The first one is from the Early Risers Kiwanis of West Bend for $5,000 for the library basement and library recreation center. This is the 4th installment of a $50,000 gift to the project. The department will receive $5,000 each of the next 3 years in addition to this. So thank you to the Early Risers Kiwanis of West Bend. The second one that I have is from the Washington County Dive Association for an Aquaglide underwater search device with a value of $5,495. I brought it with just to show. So this is essentially a sonar device. So at Regner Beach, it will be used in emergency situations, missing persons. So trained lifeguards will hold this underneath the water a couple of inches and then slowly move it back and forth. And on the screen there, it's gonna mark with X's for what it identifies as being human life. And as you keep moving, it'll tell you how far away you are in meters. It looks like a toy, but it's actually a crazy piece of equipment. So extremely fortunate for this to be implemented into the safety procedures at Regner Beach in 2024 and beyond. So thank you to the Washington County Dive Association for that.
I also have 2 donations to announce. The first one from the Friends of Lac La Ronde in the amount of $15,893 for 2 solar lights in the Lac La Ronde parking lot. Thank you to Friends of Lac La Ronde for their continued support. The second item from various citizens in the amount of $120 is funds supporting the All Abilities Playground. One donation of $20 in cash, and a second donation through the Picket Fence fundraiser of $100.
And lastly, I have a donation from the West Bend Riverside Disc Golf Club. Josh Ham and his partners for $180. So thank you to West Bend Riverside Disc Golf Club, a great consistent partner with the park system.
Thank you, everybody. That's great.
Motion to approve these donations with our thank you.
Is there a second?
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Any questions on these donations? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Reports. Me as chairman, I'll just say, just about every day I went down and checked out the Riverwalk this summer, and it's so neat to go down there now and see it finally being done. I mean, everybody, if you haven't seen it, even the community, I mean, we got to get down there and see it. I mean, great job by everybody. Secretary, anything?
Nothing to add.
Okay.
That's good.
Parks manager, Rick, project manager.
I've got a quick update on a few projects that are ongoing. The first one is the 2024 tree surety. I hope to have documents ready to go to bid by late October, early November for street tree plantings that are conducted annually, typically in May. The plantings include free tree requests from the community. Right now, that number stands at about 105 trees have been requested, so that popularity is still very high. We're going to be planting another 60 or so trees on Pennsylvania Avenue and Laurel Drive South following this past year's road reconstruction. We'll be planting a few trees at 5 new residential properties under the tree surety program. And we are also looking to include in the contract replacement trees for Regner Park, as well as Riverwalk Phase 2, 3, and 4 plantings that will be funded by the Riverwalk project. The second item I have for you is that we have recently submitted a grant to the DNR for the Urban Forestry grant program that is in the amount of $25,000, which would be put towards our street tree planting program. The third item is the Regner Camp Lodge improvements. It's starting to come along real nicely. The work completed to date includes exterior siding repairs, chimney repairs, installation of a gas fireplace insert, and replacement of 8 windows. We are waiting still to receive the new exterior doors to replace those doors, which are in very poor shape. So with lead times on doors and windows these days, we've been waiting to find out when to expect those, so more to come on that. The Ice Age Trail Alliance has proposed a new trailhead into Ridge Run from Washington Avenue. That was recently, that proposal was recently approved by the Common Council on September 5th, and the Ice Age Trail now has the go-ahead to move forward with that project. We expect to learn more on that schedule, but it'll likely be a spring 2024 installation. That work will include a 50-foot footbridge, 150-foot boardwalk across the floodplain, and some trail improvements linking up with the part of the trail in Ridge Run. Let's see, Villa Park Playground. We recently applied for a matching grant from Game Time and were successful. We were awarded $45,000 towards a new playground system in Villa Park. We have budgeted $70,000 as part of the 2024 CIP, so we're in the early stages of planning, but deciding new development that'll help us replace that age equipment with some nice new equipment. And then finally, LLC barn improvements. We are going to replace the entry paving at the north entrance to the barn, along with replacement of the existing boulder retaining wall. It's not really a retaining wall, but we're going to be installing a concrete retaining wall to support the paving at that entrance. It's currently settling, causing accessibility problems. We're going to be working with BMCI out of West Bend, and they have tentatively scheduled that work to start in late October, and Parks Rec Forestry staff will assist that process with demolition and construction of new wood handrails. So hope to have that wrapped up this fall. That's all I have.
Thanks, Rick. Park and Forestry Superintendent, Dan, got anything?
Yeah, first things first, exciting news. We got a new staff member, be starting on Monday. We hired a guy, his name is Nick Schuler. Previous experiences, he worked with KNS, also works for Michaels, looking to have some time not being on the road, spending more time. I think he must be fairly newlywed, so already has a CDL, he's got concrete finishing, he's a machine operator, I just really had a good vibe with the guy when we did it, so I'm looking forward to him. He's starting on Monday, so that's good.
Great.
He'll be taking over for Brandon. Brandon was the one that was doing all of our mowing. Brandon, excuse me, when Luke left, opening came up, Brandon put in for it. We're going to be transferring Brandon to work park maintenance, setups for special events, etc. And Nick will be taking over on more. So that's exciting for Monday. Just finished stump grinding today. We finished the last 3. We did 75 stumps this fall. Did it in about 5 days. So the crew has really become quite efficient over the time that we've been here with that. We installed all the new benches. that we have been donated so far, all the trash cans and the bike racks along the Riverwalk, those are all up. We do have more benches, so if there's anybody out there that wants to donate a bench to the Riverwalk, we're ready to put some more in. We did put 3 celebration benches out. One at Wingate, we got 2 at Ridge Run, which we had to pour cement pads for. Right now, we're kind of in a change period, so mowing with the weather, grass is just blowing up right now, so as many guys as we can, we're trying to keep up on that. Finished the restoration at the disc golf. We had those 9 additional tee pads that went in this spring. We were so busy, we just never got a chance to do all the restoration work around them, so we finished that up. Playground repairs, now we're catching up on those. And service requests refuse to stop coming in. So people want their trees cut down before the leaves drop. So yeah, we're doing that, and then we're gonna start switching into road right-of-way work, pretty much forestry orientated from this point to the rest of the year. So that's what I got.
Just because summer's over, everybody's still very busy.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Ryan, Recreation Supervisor, have anything else?
The only other thing that I have to add is that fall sports and swimming lessons are underway. Both are off to a good start, and a couple more weeks of those, and then we're on to winter.
And lifeguard.
Lifeguard
training too,
recruitment
but-
and training,
Yeah, so if anyone wants to be a lifeguard.
Right.
And we all got the email from Courtney, the Conservation Supervisor. They're busy out there at Lac La Rand too. Director, Mike, you have anything?
As Mike mentioned, the Riverwalk is open and functional. We still need some railing in several sections, some lighting underneath the underpass, some overhead lighting, all that stuff. But the deadline for the contract was June of next year. So to say we are ahead of schedule would be an understatement.
That's
so,
amazing.
Yankee General Contractors did a great job. They got on site like July 18th of last year, and they never left West Bend, really. So they wanted to get it done so they get paid. So it's probably a real smart business plan. So, no, things are working out nicely for that. And capital budget passed this week at Common Council. A couple of highlights. This year's budget is large, $7.3 million in expenditures. Our plan for 2024. Of that, $3 million is the annual borrowing. $1.8 million is the ARPA funds. $1.9 million for the TIF 16 and some carryover funding. Of the $7.3 million in projects and equipment and things like that, 5.9 are scheduled for road repairs, maintenance, new roads, complete redos, things like that. So our items, some of them were mentioned this evening: street tree planting for $20,000, new dump truck, a new pickup truck out at the workshop, crack sealing, and painting the Quas Creek parking lot, some security cameras in the Regner Entertainment area, Carl Cuss Field, Riverside Building, and Quas Creek, the main concessions building. We'll be working with PD, IT, and the airport, because the airport's looking at redoing some upgrades, so we want to kind of do them all at one time. Hopefully we get a better price, package deal. And then Rick had mentioned a playground at Villa Park. That would be the replacement of a 31-year-old playground. So that is important. Just it's quality of life, but it's also safety for our users. So that is the capital budget. Operating and labor budgets go before Common Council October 6th for the first review. So far, things look pretty standard. No big surprises or anything like that. So we're very fortunate that way. And my last item this evening is I just want to mention just all the different people and all the different groups, and I can't go through them all, that we do work with. Our staff was putting up bike racks this week and last week on the Riverwalk. They were donated from the bike-friendly group. They were built at Moraine Park. We have a Boy Scout before us tonight. These benches are $2,000 a piece. And, the disc golf course, every $180, like we talked about tonight, is a donation, and $300. And it all adds up. And then to do 9 new bench pads this year, was a tremendous impact at that disc golf course. And we have a great facility over there. The solar lights and the new barn additions, or the ramp and everything outside the barn. So these are all these different groups, again, that we work with. And without them, I mean, truly, West Bend would be a different community. Our park system would certainly be different. So thank you to all those different individuals, businesses, organizations that are out there making this a really awesome community. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything you want to talk about? I did bring something with all this discussion, and with you bringing show and tell, I brought my swim pass from 1971, if you want to look it over. Since no other discussion, no other business?
Remember having one of those?
1973, we had 70,000 customers at the swim pond.
Wow.
That was the highest number, so.
Wow.
We're going to get there again.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, no other business. I adjourn this meeting.